UFC 251 has got a new main event. Kamaru Usman vs Jorge Masvidal is a done deal. Ariel Helwani tweeted this: "Negotiations for Usman vs Masvidal are done per sources. All sides agree to terms. Usman is en route to Las Vegas. Masvidal landed earlier. Once at the hotel, they'll have to take a COVID test and then quarantine while awaiting results. If negative, they'll fly to Abu Dhabi, likely tomorrow." Negotiations were obviously a huge hurdle, but now that is clear. Now it depends on that COVID test, which is obviously a massive hurdle too. Total crapshoot if, hopefully not, they don't pass the COVID test. The fight can't and won't happen. Dana White tweeted the official promo video for Usman vs Masvidal on all his social medias, as well as changing his bios to UFC 251 Usman vs Masvidal. Kamaru Usman reacted to his fight against Masvidal. He tweeted, "Might be time for the pig to squeal." Jorge's manager Abraham Kawa posted this footage of Masvidal on the way to the private jet that would eventually take him to Las Vegas.
Taking a stroll, don't get all excited. Stretching the legs, you know?
Here's a photo of Jorge checking into his Las Vegas hotel. Now here's a photo of Kamaru Usman that shows that he has also landed in Las Vegas. Let me know who you guys think takes this fight in the comments down below. Our next story comes from Dan Hooker, who's looking for his next fight. Speaking on SiriusXM Fight Nation Radio, Hooker says Charles Olieveira or Tony Ferguson are the only fights that he would take next.
Yeah, well, I saw that they had a little reshuffle of the rankings around, and I'm still at number 5. I didn't get shifted around, which is cool for me. I'm happy with that. Not moving down in the rankings off a loss. But yeah, we're gonna have to see how things play out, because 100% I want to get back in there. I want to get back in there before the end of the year, and it'll just come down to who that's going to be against. Who really wants to get back in there and mix it up too, because I saw Dustin moved above Tony. Because the two fights that make the most sense is Tony Ferguson and Dustin Poirier, and then me versus Charles Olieveira. Like, those two fights make the most sense, and I am 100% on board with them making the most sense. But Dustin's come out and said that he doesn't want to fight until next year, so it comes down to Tony. If Tony wants to get back in there this year, he wants to get back to action, and just he's itching to fight, which I know, he's like me. He wants to get back out there, and he's itching to fight, and I would 100% take that fight. And I'm not going to turn down a second crack at the number 3 ranked fighter in the world. I remember my first crack at number 6 was Edson Barboza, and that turned out like shit. So my second fight was Ally Quinnan, so that one went a lot better. So I think I do better work a second time around.
Our next story comes from Max Holloway, who says his whole training camp was by himself. Speaking to Ariel Helwani, Max Holloway says he had no sparring partners and only spoke to his coaches through a video call the whole training camp.
It was challenging. It was challenging indeed. It was difficult, but we're going to find out who the true fighters, who the true warriors, who the true people who really love this get to do it. At the end of the day, I didn't want to put none of my coaches in harm's way or getting arrested or whatever. The stay-at-home order in Hawaii was pretty serious. I know people was getting to gyms and stuff, but a lot of the way I was training was exactly like this. It was over Zoom. They was doing Zoom classes as we was training. I didn't really get too much, But the first time seeing my coaches was meeting them at the airport from Vegas and coming here. So no sparring at all. I kind of liked it. I kind of like not sparring.
First time?
Yeah, first time not sparring. Yeah, I always used to. I was a big believer in sparring. I love sparring, but this camp actually opened my eyes. Like, man, we don't even have to spar that much anymore. Like, I'm at a point in my career where I know how to punch, I know how to kick, I know how to apply it, so I spar. So I get to actually do some movement rounds here in the upcoming bit after this. We're pretty much doing 2 48-hour quarantines. So after everything, I got one of my guys up here, Micah Nakam, my wrestling coach that I get to move around with. So I'm excited for that.
This is how Alexander Volkanovski reacted to Max Holloway's training camp. Speaking to ESPN, Volkanovski said, "To be quite honest, I don't believe that. That's all shit. Whether he's doing it to cover things on his end, I don't want to accuse him of anything, but we had to get exemptions to train, so I couldn't train until I got that done. So there was a lot that needed to happen for the government. Again, I'm not going to accuse him of anything, but I don't believe that he hasn't been training. I'm preparing for a fully prepared Max either way." Our next story comes from Sean O'Malley, who reacts to top fighters calling him out. Speaking to Helen Yee, Sean O'Malley says he will fight Cody Gabrandt, Petr Yan, and Henry Cejudo someday.
I think it'll happen. I believe I will fight Cody someday. I will fight Petr someday, and I think I'll fight Henry someday. He's still angry about the girlfriend joke I made. He tweeted something the other day about me. So I think those are 3 fights that will happen someday, and they're all pretty similar. They're all pretty short little dudes, and I think those fights all go the same way. So yeah, I love that these guys are talking, saying my name and stuff right now. I enjoy that part of the game too, so it's been going good. Who do I want to fight next? I would say Cody, but I think that fight's something that gets built up. He's got to keep winning, and I got to keep winning, and that's how big pay-per-view fights happen, is when 2 stars meet in the main event. But I don't think that's the fight that's gonna happen next. Obviously, he's ranked number 4 or whatever, and it's just not a good fight for him to take. So I don't think that'll happen next. If I had to guess, I'd say it's Cheeto, which would be fine with me. I think it's a good matchup for me. I think he's basic, he's tough, but he's not explode. I don't think he's super good. I don't think he's as good as people think he is. So it'd be a good fight for me.
Our next story comes from Jon Jones, who says he knows how to beat Francis Ngannou. Speaking on the Wild Ride podcast with Steve-O, Jon Jones says he just has to get past the first round and he wins the fight.
I've been facing heavyweights for a long time, and I do really good against those guys. I'm surprisingly really strong, and I'm fast, and I just move well. My body mechanics move very well, so I think I can do things that they just don't do, and they just can't do. With Francis Ngannou, it's very simple. Get comfortable with the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is he knocks you the fuck out. He possibly fractures a bone in your face. That's the worst case scenario. You get real comfortable with that idea, and then it becomes easy. If he doesn't knock you out and break your face, you're smart, you're fast, you have a chin, you have great head movement. You can wrestle. You can. There's a lot of ways things can play out. So I just think about the worst case scenario and get yourself mentally to a place where you're almost walking into that. Like, okay, I'm getting ready to go out there, and this guy could possibly hurt me tonight. Okay, so that's the way I look at it. It's like, yeah, Francis Ngannou is dangerous, yes. I believe that he has a chance to knock me the fuck out. Let's say that out loud. But if I don't get knocked out, I believe I win that fight. I just got to get through round 1, and I win that fight. I just want to beat the scariest, baddest dude on the planet. And if that's Francis, Stipe, or DC, yeah, I'm just ready to finally stop playing games with greatness and just go for it. It's like, John, if you believe that you have something that is special, that is even a gift from your higher power, then stop questioning it, because it's insulting. Because it's insulting. It's insulting to your creator that you believe that he will put limitations on what he's giving you.
Our next story comes from Mike Perry, who says he will go train at American Top Team. Speaking to Ariel Helwani, Mike Perry says he won't be paying any gyms a percentage of his fight purse anymore. He also goes on to talk about his relationship with Jon Jones. Here's the clip.
Yeah, I think so. We're going to Miami, man. I want to go to the beach. Yeah, I mean, if they'll let me fight again with nobody, I'd be totally fine with that. I mean, I really don't want to go from what I just did to go pay some big gym. I really don't want to pay. I mean, like, look, I'll go pay a membership like a regular person, and like, I'll pay you guys for private lessons, but I'm not paying you off of my fight purse. That's mine. You wildin'. That's me. At the end of the day, you ain't helping me. That's what I just proved. I proved that. I on the whole sport. And you know what? I like Daniel Cormier, but Jon Jones don't give a about no like that. Jon Jones would have went out there and fought him every time by himself. And I know people want to talk about PEDs and stuff. I don't know about all that, bro. From what I knew from Jon personally, when I hung out with him a couple times, he's savage. He's savage. I like that dude. He's savage. He's got his own agenda. He's got to deal with. And I was always been the same way, and two guys like that, you can have a good time together once or twice. And then it's like, all right, we're moving on. We got our own, if you trying to be king, you got to handle your own business. You got to do it. You got to keep it to yourself. You got to just do it.
Our next story comes from Tyron Woodley, who says he wants 2 more fights this year, but feels he's in no position to call anyone out. Here's what Woodley said. I want to fight 2 more times this year. I feel like if I can get one on the book sometime in the near future, then it still leaves me with November or December to fight again. I want to fight 2 more times this year. I want to just really knock out some fights. I'm excited about it. I'm ready to get back in there and get after it. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head like, oh, let me fight this motherfucker motherfucker. If you lose a fight, you don't be coming out of the gate like you ain't really in a position to call anybody out. You kind of just gotta take a seat, sit down, be humble, get back on the grind, get ready to beat somebody up. But you don't really get to call the shots like that. At least I don't think you should. Some people do. You know who you are. Let me know who you think Woodley should fight next. That about wraps up the video for today. If you made it this far, I thank you for watching. Have a great day and peace.